Welcome to the card portion of tonight's Game Night Fun card class. And the set that we are doing is a full suite. It's in the mini catalog, and this retires at the end of December. And this is the suite that we're using. It's the suite's called Oh Holy Night. But the stamp sets that we're using is the Night Divine and the Star at Night. So this is the Night Divine. These are the stamps that go with it. It's Oh Holy Night. The Lord is my shepherd, joy and peace. The stars are brightly shining. Glory to God in the highest. And he shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And then the die cuts are the manger scene. And I'll show that real quick here. There, most of them are in on my thing, but there's the shepherds with Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. That also is in the set, but I have them over at the die cut machine where I was die cutting. And then this is also part of it. And so this was an add-on and this was a separate add-on, or you could have done both. And this one is called Stars at Night. And they are die cuts that will cut this little saying out. And it's a hybrid. And when I mean say a hybrid, and so I have a piece in here. There's a glare from my lights. There's a piece in here because I needed to die cut that, but I wanted to show that whenever you put your, you can use the embossing folder by itself. You can use the die cuts by themselves, or you could use it together. And so when I open this up, this die here with the 3 stars on it goes in here and clicks into place around all these other stars, and then you put your cardstock in, and when it cuts it out, it cuts it and embosses it. That's the reason why it's called a hybrid. So I needed this star for one of my cards for tonight, so I went ahead and used that, but I wanted to explain what it meant to be a hybrid. So then get this piece out. So when you put it in, this is also it's been die cutted, but it's also been embossed right here. And then I want to show you another piece. This piece was embossed, but without the cutting portion of it. So I took this out, put this in, ran it through with the plates that were, let's see, when you do these large, thick embossing folders, you want to put in your machine a number 1 plate. Then you would put your embossing folder with your cardstock in it, with the hinge going towards the machine. And then you use your gray piece, number 4, and this says that this is not a cutting surface. This is meant to run this through the machine like this, and when it comes out the other end, it's embossed like this. And so this is a hybrid. You can either just emboss, or you can emboss and cut. And so I really like this. We had one that was hearts a year or 2 back, and that was a neat one. And we had some that were flowers. And so, yep, this piece just goes inside there. But the rest of the stars at night, there's this piece here, and I'm going to show how it will cut out. And then you have all these other stars that you can use. And then there are other pieces like this sprig, and there's 2 of them, so you can cut 2 of them at a time. There's 2 of these stars. There's 2 of these, And then there's 2 or 3 different ones of these. They're over at the cutting table. I will say with this one here, because whenever you cut out, it leaves little holes so that something can show through. We're doing this one on one of our cards tonight. It does leave all these little pieces all over your cutting surface, and so they're stuck to this thing here. But this is a very nice set also. And then there's the 3 different ones. We're using it on the same card that we use this one. And so the stamp sets that go with these. This is the one set that goes with the stars. And we will use the stamp by itself without using any of the die cutting or the embossing. And then this is these are large, very large sentiments. Some are smaller, but they're very nice. Here is the smallest one. And then this one's obviously the largest one. So where is that? And then the paper, I'll move these out of the way. Oh, one of the other things that we're using is the Stylish Shapes dies. And I'm using it to cut out a sentiment. But I've done all the cutting and stamping for those types of things because the cards, they're not like real elaborate, but they seem to be real elaborate. And then one of the other sets that I used was the Something Fancy. I didn't use the sentiments, but I used the dies that go with it. And I used the middle die. There's a third one that's shaped like this for one of the sentiments. So that is all of the supply type things that we're using. In your kit, you will get 2 yards of this glitter ribbon, and it's Night of Navy with gold glitter. It's very pretty, and it's like a sheer, and it's a little bit stiffer, but you can still tie bows with it. And then you're also getting 2 yards of the gold and the silver. We're using the silver. You could try and use the gold on things. I use silver for certain things. And that ribbon is the gold and silver trim combo pack. And that is here's the ribbon for this. The paper is the Shining Brightly in the Oh Holy Night. And so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sheets. And so you get this one in a gold and vanilla, and you also get it in a gold and navy, and then gold and vanilla stars and gold navy stars, and then the print. And then these are sceneries with the but they're like very vivid. So there's this one, and this one's the Oh Holy Night paper, and this one here is the Shining Brightly paper. And so you will get some of each of these pieces of paper. I will have to look, but we're using the gold foil on some of the cards. I don't know if I will just cut the pieces for you, if I will give you a 1/4 of a sheet of the paper so that you can cut your own. But we're also using gold foil. So there's a lot of elements to the cards, but I've also got several different types of cards. But they're all like Christmas and religious based cards. Because the season, Jesus is the reason for the season. So pages 14 and 15 in this September-December catalog. Okay, so we will get started with our actual cards. And I'm going to do something different than what I normally do. I'm going to show you the card that we're making. And then you can see what it is as, you know, as I am making it. So I'm going to bring out my pieces here. See, this is 18 inches of that silver ribbon. And if you want, when you have it, you can just use it off the piece that you get and then go from there, because you'll get 2 yards. But I just went ahead and cut 18 inches, so I already had it. And I've already embossed my piece there. So I'll get all my pieces out. And then I'm going to show you the card that we're making. This is a type of a fun fold card. And so we've made these in the past, but they usually went like this. And then your image looked, you know, went in a portrait, but I turned it on its side and we're doing it as a landscape. It will go into an envelope. You just fold it down flat. And it slides right into an envelope. And then when you open it up and you pop it out, and it will sit up for displaying. And so, and then on the back is where there's another greeting and then a place for you to write your sentiment. And so we'll get started with that card. So I'll just set it right there. The first card piece is the card base. And this is a 9.5 inch length by 4 1/4. And then it's been scored at 5.5, 6.5, 8, and 9. And then you've got this little bitty strip here that is a 1/2 inch strip. And this is a Night of Navy. And then we have another piece here. So this is the main card base. And then this piece here will be this front piece for the imagery. And this piece is 5.5 inches by 3 1/4 inches. And so we scored it at 1 inch and a half, 1.5 inches. I think that's 1.5. To make certain. Yeah, 1.5 inches. So a 1/2 inch and 1.5 inch. So that scoring's been done. This is the piece for the back, so it needs to be stamped. I'll set that up to the top. And this I already did the embossing on. And then here is the die cut for our imagery. And this is our sentiment. And with this, what I did was I stamped my sentiment on the card stock so that it was near the edge like this. And then I cut it out so that my banner was just past. And then that way I have, instead of having the banner on both ends, I have a flat edge, and then I have my banner on that one end. So I already did that stamping ahead of time, but I still wanted to explain how I did it. And then this piece is also been ran through the embossing folder, the same as this. And this will be our front piece here. And on the stylish stitch dies, I used one of the larger circles out of just the piece of DSP that has just, it's a starry sky. And so I went ahead and just cut that out for, that'll be my backdrop for my imagery here. So we'll get started on that. And then these pieces of DSP, there is a sheet, and you can take this out of the top of this sheet here. It has, it looks like the town of Bethlehem. And this first piece is, see, 3 3/4 by 1, and this one's 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. And I'll have all the measurements on the PDF, so I'm not going to go through and do all the measurements for all the pieces of the cardstock, but I went ahead and did that one. Okay, so we're going to get the bone folder, start putting this card together. So this is the mountain fold. So I want it up, and I'm going to fold back. And then take my bone folder and crease. And then I'm going to take the next one and fold back and crease. And see right here, I don't know if you can see, right here, I started to put it in the wrong place. And so I pushed it out on the back. But this is going to be covered up, so it didn't matter to me. I just went on and put it in the right place. So if you do make a mistake like that, see if you can still use it, because if it's covered up, nobody will know. And I make mistakes. So I just went and figured out I had done it wrong when I was in the middle of doing it. So I'm just folding these all towards the card itself, getting them nice and burnished. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this. This is the mountain fold, and then the valley's like pushed up here. So I'm going to fold towards this larger end. And I'm lining up my edges too as I'm doing this. Increasing, doing this one little thing. Okay. So we're going to work with this one first. We're going to take our largest piece, and I'm pretty certain this is 4 by 5 1/4. I'll double check. I wasn't going to give the measurements, but yep, 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to just glue it to this larger section and have the littler sections on the right and the larger section on the left. And one of my tips for gluing is glue your corners first, like in a line, coming from the corner towards the center of the card. Now right here I got a little bit too much glue, so I'm going to smear that towards the center, and then just add glue. I usually show you like embossing and everything, but we've all embossed quite often that we know how to do all that. So, and I explained the hybrid. So I'm just going to lay that there. And then I'm going to take this first little piece here that is going to go here on my left side. And I'm going to do the same thing with the glue, is bring it from the corner towards the center. And then go right down the middle. It helps hold your corners down. And then I'm going to take it to the left here, and I'm going to give equal distance at the top, the bottom, and the side. So you want an equal border right there on those 3 sides of it. So like that. And press it down. And then we're going to fold this over. So here's the 1/2 inch tab, and here's the second score line. We're going to just fold it over and just put glue on that 1/2 inch tab. Okay. And then we're going to lift it up with that folded over. So those 2 tab, that 1/2 inch, and then that next inch is folded over. You're going to fold it like you would a card and just press it. And then that will make your box, your little box. So the little tab will be, I'll show it on here. So like the last 2, the 1/2 inch tab, and the next one, you'll fold that in half and have just those 2 showing up. Put your glue on the 1/2 inch tab, and then fold it at the main crease and fold it over so that it goes like that, and then press it down. And that makes your square here at the bottom. But you need it if you use liquid glue, you need to let it dry for a moment before you move on to the next. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is add this next piece of DSP. So my buildings are here at the bottom, my sky's at the top. I'm going to add glue at those corners. It looks like it's a hard card, but it is not. And then we're going to cover up that little mistake I made with my scoring. And this one you want to center all the way around. Equal at the top and bottom and equal at the sides. And so it should be lining up along. This one here is a little bit longer than this one because this piece was only 3 3/4, and this one is actually 4 inches long. Because see, it lines up here, but because we have a white layer, this here, I made it a little bit smaller because when you put this next piece on, you will not notice they're not the same length. Okay. All right. So now then, we want to have the small score lines on the left, and we're going to add our next piece that's embossed, the white piece that's embossed with the stars, on the far right large piece. So just going to add glue. And glue that down equally with the top and bottom equals, and the from this edge and this edge to that score line equal as best as you can. Whoops, I just slid it too far. There. When you use liquid glue, you have some wiggle room, but then whenever you try to move it, it slides too far. Okay, so now then we're ready to put this onto our card base, and you're going to add glue just on this end. Now you can line it up with this and see that I don't want to go any farther than that, so I'm going to come in a little closer and I'm going to lay my hand there so I won't go too far. So this here is 1.5 inches. I want to go only about 1 inch. I don't want to go 1.5 inches in, so I only want to put glue on the 1 inch down here. So corners, and then on down. And then you want to center it top to bottom. You want to do as much equal at the bottom as you do the top, but you want this edge up against this edge. So I just put my finger there, push up to it, and then lay it down flat. Then I come back this other way. Because that box will go either direction. And so it's clear up against this edge. See, I've got it up against that edge, and I've got it centered equal top and bottom. And then you want to give that a moment to stick. And then you want to open this up to where the 1/2 inch and this inch score line, I think that's 1 inch. Yeah. So these two sections are showing. And then we're going to add glue on this little section. Now I'm not squeezing, I'm just like moving the glue around that's already on there. All right. So now you want to bring this card and fold both of these back without touching here. So you want to pull it apart a little bit, fold it back so that it's laying back there, and just fold it down and then you're going to press. So you'll lift it up a little bit so you can flip the part that's got the glue on it back behind and hold it up in the air a little bit, and then push your square all the way back to the left and then press it down. And that creates your card base. So it moves back and forth like this. This, it will not fit in an envelope, but when you fold it this way, it will. Okay. And now we'll add our ribbon. And I find it easiest to take my ribbon, slide it through this opening. So we're just sliding it down in this tube. Bring it over here to the, so I've got the tube at the bottom and that flat edge, open edge at the top. And I bring it up here to my right. And then tie it. Like that. And I'm gonna grab my tweezers and hold that right there, and then make my bow. This is kind of a little bit stiffer ribbon, but so once you get your bow, I leave my tweezers there and I hold my finger on the center of the knot and pull on the tail. And pull on the other tail. And that way it doesn't untie my bow. And then I can pull on my bow to get it however I want it. Then pull my tweezer out of there. And then I can adjust my bow to wherever I need it to be. This is a little bit twisted here, so I'm going to try to straighten it out. It probably wouldn't matter, but I want my bow to lay a little bit nicer. I'm just trying to get it to twist underneath there. There. So I just slid it so it would do it there. And then I can trim off my ends. And we're almost finished. All right, so here's my card base. I want to take my sky and I want my stars. I'll keep looking for them. So this star's right up here. And it looks like to me, like if I was looking at the sky, that would be the brightest. You just turn it, you find a section of the cardstock that you want. And I wanted one with a bright star. And then I'm gonna take my Mary, Joseph, and the shepherds. And I'm going to add this here. I'll bring in my silicone mat. So I want my star up here at the top. And it works out perfect. There's another one right above between Mary and Joseph. And so I'm just going to add some glue. You can use glue dots, you can use your tape runner, but I'm just going to use some liquid glue. And these do have holes cut in them. But I will show you a little, whoops. Section of the manger wasn't out of the die cut. That's stuck to my finger. All right. I'll show you a little trick to if it's gets sticky. All right. So I have glue on the back of my, there on the backs of all the little characters. I didn't put a lot. And I'm going to bring it down here because I already dry fitted it where I thought I wanted it. And I'm going to place them on my circle. And if it would happen to like, because you can see there's openings in the lamb and in the manger, and they're right here, then you just take your embossing buddy and just tap over the top of it, and it'll take any stickiness away. All right, so I have that adhered. I'm gonna turn it over, and these little corners are sticking off. I'm gonna trim them off. So I'm just gonna put my scissors and just cut it away. Don't cut the circle, just use the circle as the guide as to where to cut. Okay. So now then, we'll glue that to our card front. I want to get them as level as I can. I don't want them like going downhill or something. I'll put my circle. And then bring in my dimensionals. And with my sentiment, I'm going to lay it over here and try to find out, like, I know this bottom corner right here, I do not want to put a dimensional on. And so, and I'm not going to put them clear to the end because of the ribbon. I don't know how far my ribbon will stick under the thing. So, and these are mini ones, so I'm putting extras, but if you had regular size, you would just put, you know, 1, 2, 3 maybe. I'll take my backings off. And this sentiment was stamped in Night of Navy. So I'm going to cover the ribbon with the edge of my, so I'm taking the edge of my sentiment to the edge of the white, so I know it's covering the silver anyway. I'm just putting it right under the manger there, so that it lines up along the bottom of the manger. So that's the front of our card. And now we just need to have the spot in the back for our place to write. So turn this over. So I'll bring in my not very vanilla, the Night of Navy, and my stamp. Fuzzies or something on it. And it's a very large stamp. I mean, in correlation to my hand, it's a large stamp. All right, so I'm going to lay my stamp down and ink it. Bring in my ink to the stamp. Okay. I'll turn it over and bring my cardstock down and try to line it up on this left-hand side. Press. Getting my stamp right away. Probably how all the fuzzies got on there. I don't want to risk laying something on it and having all the navy blue. scrap paper here. All right, so that one's. And then I'm going to glue it to the back of that. That tip of the corners. Around the outside edge and then the center. Now, make certain. Okay, so it's right side up. Just flip it over. And then add this to the back. Turn it over this way so I can press, because this is so bulky, you can't get a flat. Okay. So that is our card 1. Stands up. And it's not hard to put together. And it's very pretty. That's card number 1. Now we will move to card number 2. And with card number 2, we have some embossing. And we have the Mary and Joseph and the star behind the vellum. And we stamp on the vellum. And heat emboss it. And then we attach it to the card front here. And then on the inside is that star, and it says Merry Christmas. I'll set that up there. This is Pebbled Path. And I have my die cut and the star die cut. And it embosses and die cuts at the same time without going through the embossing folder. And then I have, this is a piece that just looks like the desert and sand. And then our piece of vellum. This piece is 3 3/4 by 5, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And then our piece of gold is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I could have done my die cutting out of the center of this for some of my other cards, but I hadn't made it to the other cards yet to have done that. So anyway, you may get a piece that, if I end up cutting the pieces down for you, you may get a piece that has part of your other card die cut out of the center of it, because it won't be seen. And then your inside piece, it should be 3 1/2, yep, by 5. So that's the inside. And then we have our Pebbled Path, and it is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Put my 2 edges together. There, and then top and bottom. Crease. Oh, I'll wait to do the stamping on those. I'm going to go ahead and add this to my doing my corners along my outside edge. It's hard to see the glue on this pattern, but it's on there. Really hard to see it. And then just add it to the card front. And when you're going to foil is slick. So try not to move it, because once you get glue on it, it doesn't matter what, it makes it a smeared look. So as long as it's where the glue's at's under your card, it doesn't matter. Or under your DSP, it won't matter. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add this to my card front. Doing those corners again. And just layering it right there on the card front. I'll set this up here to the out of the way to the side. I'll bring in a piece of copy paper. And I'm going to do my inside piece first. And we're bringing in our Daffodil Delight. And Pebbled Path. I'm going to switch from Daffodil Delight to Lemon Lolly. I used it on one of the other cards, and so I'll use the Lemon Lolly. So I'm going to stamp the star first. So I'm going to just ink it up. And in the center of this, I'll stamp my Lemon Lolly. So much nice navy on that. My star. And then bring in my Merry Christmas. Now I know my Merry Christmas looks like it's red, but it's just stained that color. And plus this is a darker, kind of a brownish gray. It wouldn't matter. I'll ink up my Merry Christmas. Go right through the center of my star. Give it a moment to adhere the ink to the paper. Go ahead and put that on the inside. So that's one more thing off our workstation. And then just center it top to bottom and side to side. And we're almost finished with this. All right, so now then, here's our vellum. And you can see it on the white paper because it's kind of got a milky cast to it. I'm going to take my embossing buddy. I'm going to tap it all over my vellum. That way it gets all the oils, like I've got glue on my fingers right now. And then we're going to get this piece here. And because I used it with the blue earlier, I'm going to take my wipe here and make certain that I have all the blue wiped off. I'm going to put it in my VesaMark ink. So I had some more blue on that still. So I'm going to take my VesaMark. And I'm going to ink it up. Go over it several times. Sorry, it's shaking the camera. flip this over and center the best that I can. Press. And the VesaMark is like a watermark ink, and it's tacky. I'm going to remove that. Fuzzies. There. And then I'm going to add my gold embossing powder. Over and pluck away any excess that I can. Looks pretty good right now. And I need to put my embossing powder back into the jar. Bring our heat tool in. Let it warm up a moment. Then hopefully you can see it change. You want to move it around a little bit. Now it gets real shiny. Then pick it up from the back and let the heat raise up the lettering. If you overheat it, it'll turn it really dull. Our embossed, it's real pretty and shiny. You want to give it a moment to cool. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in a finger dauber. I think it's cool now. Okay, I'm gonna lay this down. Put a little bit of glue right here on my silicone mat. You can put it on the paper, but once you put it on a scrap piece of paper or Post-it notes so you can throw it away. And I'm just gonna, if you put it in a great big glob, you'll see it. The way I'm showing you, you shouldn't be able to see it. And then on another card, I'm gonna show you another option. So you just, this glue will dry clear. And so you just keep going. And as you go, it starts getting clear on the back of it. And I don't put out too much on my silicone mat at one time. But I'm going to put things under. And so, all right. So while that's starting to dry, but it'll still be tacky, I'm going to take and put my Mary Joseph in the wise people. I just put a little bit of glue, not a lot. I'm going to put it about an inch off the bottom. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on the back of the star and put it right here above them where it almost touches them. And then pick this up and lay it over the top and center it. And then that way it'll help hold down your pieces underneath, and you want to push from the center out. And you cannot see where the glue is because we just blotted it on and spaced it over the whole thing. And there is our card number 2. All right, so now then I'll take my wipe and clean and glue off my mat, my silicone mat. And then set it off to dry. And then I put this back in a container. It has a ring, a seal on it. And even if it dries out, you can put more glue on it and it'll like get tacky again. All right, so now we're ready for card number 3. There's a little bit more to this card, and it's kind of a wow card, but I think you'll like it. Move this out of the way. I need to clean it still. The VesaMark, there's not as much to clean, but I still like to get that ink off. All right, so we're using Misty Moonlight and paper from both of the designer series papers, the shining, brightly shining, and the oh holy night paper on this one. And we're also using gold foil on it. But this is the card we're making. It's a little bit different, so it's kind of got a wow inside. So it just kind of looks like a regular card here. This is a belly band, and so you slide this off. So you've got this, and it's very pretty. And then this looks like a kind of a regular card, and you open it up, and when you push it back like this, don't fold it, crease it. When you push it back, it'll stand up and show your card. And this here is like extended out from. So here's what it looks like. So I'm going to lay that down. And then this little piece is here. So I have the ribbon, and we have 18 inches of that Night of Navy ribbon with the gold sequency glitter on there. This requires VesaMark ink, and it requires the Oh Holy Night. Oh Holy Night. For the Oh Holy Night, it requires the Night of Navy. I was gonna stamp that ahead of time and forgot. And then I have a glitter, gold glitter, one of the stars. I have, should be 2 of these, of the gold foil star. I'll have to see if I can find another one I get down in here. We have vellum to stamp on. We have this black silhouette of the manger scene. And then we have some other DSPs here. This is a piece for our belly band. And then our panels here to put our card together. Right now I'm looking for my other star. Hoping it's still in the envelope. Nope. So I will just omit putting it on the inside, but know that it'll be on, my pictures will show the inside. But unless I happen to come across it, because I know I cut it, I just don't know what I did with it. I thought I put it in the envelope, but I don't find it. All right. Well, so the first thing that we're going to do is we need to do our stamping so it has time to dry. And then because when you stamp on vellum, it will dry. It just takes a while. And then you can also speed it along with the heat tool. So I have that here. Or you could stamp it and then put your clear embossing powder over the top of it. But I don't know where my clear embossing one is right now. But so I'm going to bring in my Oh Holy Night stamp so that I can get that done first. And I'm going to clean the fuzzies off. I'm going to bring the ink to the stamp because it is larger again. And then that way I can see what I have stamped and what I don't. And when you stamp onto vellum, you want to go straight down, hold it a few moments, straight up. So, Oh Holy Night. Just try to hold it. Straight up. And that way you don't smear. But you can see, maybe, that it's kind of like shiny and wet. And so I'm going to set this over here to dry for a moment. I'm going to clean this up. Otherwise, I'll stick my arm in it. I don't know why my camera is flicking. Like it's the bottom of the screen keeps flashing. I hope it's okay on your end. All right, so one of the other sentiments is celebrating the magic of the season. And it's a long sentiment, this whole length. And so on Misty Moonlight, and it's like a 1/2 inch piece of it, I inked it up in VesaMark. And then I stamped it onto my 1 or 1/2 inch strip of Misty Moonlight. I added my white embossing powder to it. And then I heat embossed it and got this long piece here. Okay, so, but this is not how I want to use it. So I want to take my paper snips, and it says celebrating thee. So I'm going to come up to between the thee and magic and cut as straight up as I can. I think I'm going to grab some other scissors that are a little bit longer. And so I'm going to come down here on the end where it says celebrating, and I'm going to trim off that end right up there close to the C. And then I'm going to hold it in my fingers and just cut a straight line right under the word. I'll turn around and cut a straight line right above the word. So then I'm going to take this next one. It says the magic of the season. I'm going to cut closer to the word season. And then I'm going to do the, I'm kind of holding it up towards the top of the scissors, this top blade of the scissors, so that I can keep it as straight as I can. Now, when you're doing the second side, keep your fingers out of the way. So there's our sentiment. And you don't have to cut it that small. I just wanted it that small. I thought it looked better than being larger. All right. So that was our 1/2 inch, and it was just a scrap piece from where I cut the card itself. So oops, that was my heat tool. So this card is only 8 inches long. So 8.5 inches, that's where that 1/2 inch came from for the greeting. And so, and then it's also 5.5. So all I did was take the 1/2 inch off to bring it down to the 8 inch. And then I could cut it in half to have my 2 cards. Then I scored it at 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches. So it's just every 2 inches. And we're going to take, and this is the mountain here, and I'm going to fold it in those 2, and that's what makes it a gate. But they're kind of overlapping a little bit. So I'm going to make it where they butt up to each other. So I'm forcing them down, and it kind of has a little bit of hump. And I'm going to work that score line to manipulate it to be a perfect gatefold, because when you're scoring, you do your very, very best, but it can be off like a 30-second and it'll overlap. All right, so I'm gonna open this back up. Now then, when I cut my paper, whoops, I only have 2 of those. That's okay. I will make this work. Let me grab another sheet. Okay, so it's just a whole sheet of paper that looks like a starry night sky. And the cardstock, or the DSP, is 5 1/4 inches long. And then all of the 6, you have 6 panels. They're all at 1 3/4 inch wide. So 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And so I'm going to cut, because I need 2 more, because I want this on the inside, and then I picked this one for the outside. They can all be the same, but I wanted mine to be a little bit different. So I'm going to choose the length 5 1/4. Okay. And then it was 1 3/4 for the width. So 1 3/4. So halfway between 1 and 2 is the half there, and then between 1.5 and 2 is your 3/4 mark halfway through there. So I need 2 of them. So there's 1. Slide this over to 1 3/4. Number 2. And I already had my other 2. And because they're coming from the same, these were cut from that same piece, it was just on the other end, then it'll all match. So on the inside, I'm going to take and add glue. So on the back is the little light collared blue with the white stars all over it. Could have used it too. But I'm just going to add some glue to my corners, like I've been telling you. Then I'll do the center. Then I'm going to bring this in on this first panel. Don't put anything on the center panels. So just right now, we're going to do right here. And we want to center it the best that we can. There we go. And then we're going to take this next one, and we're going to do the same, and we're going to put it on the far right panel. This card looks hard, but it is super easy. And it's got a nice little fun in the inside. And then we're going to line this up. And if it's easier that you put it in landscape to line up, then do that. So I'm just going to add that. Okay, so we have another little piece of Misty Moonlight here. And this is at 5 inches long. And the first score line is at 1/2 inch. And this second score line is at 4 7/8 inch. Or no, excuse me, 4 3/8. Sorry, 4 3/8. It doesn't matter that they're not the same on each end, or you can do fold this back and then just at 3 7/8 put another thing. But I'm okay with doing I think it's supposed to be 1/2 inch, but I think I went too much. Hang on. Let's see here. Ah, here it is. Okay, so this is the 1/2 inch side, 1/2 inch, and then it was 4 3/8. Okay, so sorry, I'm confusing you, but this is a 1/2 inch score line right here. And then the next score line is at 4 3/8. Or you could fold it back, bring it down to the edge, and score at 3 7/8. Just one larger notch under the 4, whichever is easiest for you. So this is our mechanism that'll make our thing to pop out like this. And I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to fold them both back like this towards the back, and then you're going to add glue on each one of those little tabs. So just add some glue. Like I said, it doesn't matter that they're not equal tabs, just that we have tabs back there. Okay, and then you want to be in the center, and you want to be between these score lines. So you want to put it down on this side of the score line, and then you want to put it on So on the right side of the left score line and on the left side of the right score line. You don't want to overlap the score lines, because if you do, the card won't shut right. So see how I have them folded back and they're on the inside of both score lines. Okay. Now then we'll take the other two pieces and I'll put my stars at the top. I'll show you how we adhere those. So you put the glue on the corners. Then I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to slide underneath that bar and center it up and down, and it'll go clear up to the as far as it can on the inside of that bar. You just press it down. Then you do the same for this one. You lift it up, slide it up underneath there, and as far over into the corner of that bar, and then center it top, bottom, and press it. So now that is the inside, and we're going to fold this forward and we're going to decorate this outside. So the two pieces that are vanilla with the gold foiling, I'm just going to add those now to this front, these two front panels. Pardon me for not being on talk. Like that. My chair keeps rolling away. Try to line them up where they're straight across to the top and bottom, so that they're equal that way, so that it looks like it's straight here and at the bottom. All right, so now with our 11-inch belly band, 11 inches by 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to start here in the middle and just overlap just a little bit right there. So it's overlapping that seam. And I'm going to fold it to the back and then fold it to the front. Now I'm not trying to make it super, super tight. So you can see there's a little bit of a gap there, but you don't want it too loose where it'll just slide off. But if you like pull it as tight as you can, you'll never get the belly band on and off. So I just, folded it, pushed it back, folded it, and kind of made it a little bit tight. And then I want to come and cut off about as much as I overlapped this way. I want to overlap this other way. So I just cut the little tab off, try not to cut through this one. All right, so then the best thing to do is add glue on this end and then glue on this end here. And then line them up and you bring them together like that. And then just hold it so that it can adhere and hold tight. All right, that's our belly band. Okay, so now these pieces, this is our gold foiling, and this is just a piece of, it's got a lighter color of like a gradient blue on the back, and then on the front it kind of has a design on it. And the what I did was I took this die here and I put it on here and I ran it through the machine. And then I put this die that has 3 on it. I put it so that, whoops, so that the pointy star was at the top, or at the bottom, I mean, and the little star was at the top. And then I just took it and I flipped it the other way and put it down here so that I can make openings. And then I'll show you. So when you layer that on this gold foil, the gold shines through all that, even through all those little holes. And you have a lot of the underneath showing. I'm taking, there's a few of these that haven't popped out. No, they don't all have to be, but there's a group of them there. All right, so to glue this down, you have to be mindful of these openings, but you need to also adhere it down. And so I just put a little dot of glue around those. And then over here. And you can't glue the center part down. That's okay. It'll be held down with other things. And then, you know, in between the stars, you want to put just dots of glue. And then these corners. And then you want to be very careful when you put it down, because once glue gets on the foil, it makes it cloudy and you can see it. So you don't want to smear it. So I'm just setting that down and just pressing. And I tried not to put too much glue so that it would stick, you know, come out the openings. All right, so now then I need to glue this to the front, and I want to see about how much. So it's about a finger's width on each side. So when I add glue, I don't want to go clear to the edges. I just want to stay here in the middle. And I don't want to get near my edges here because I don't want to end up gluing my thing shut. And I want to center that in the middle the best I can. And then bring my card in. And center that. And then make certain that you can still slide your belly band, that you didn't glue it down. Then I'm going to take dimensionals. I'm going to use my mini ones. Whoops. And my gold star. Now this one here has a backing on it because it's a self-sticky one. And on this other one, I popped it up, but this one here, I'm just going to lay it flat, whoops, flat down. The center as I can on that. And then I'm going to maybe I've lost that second star. Well, I was going to put the star in the middle of it. Well, I'll just have to tell you what I did because I can't find it here. And I could be looking right at it and it jump out at me. But anyway, what I did was I put a dimensional onto the center of this star, and then place that other star down on top of it so that it kind of raised it up a little bit off the card. And then now we're going to add, hopefully I'll find it. Now we're going to add our ribbon, and there's a smoother edge where there's no glitter, and then there's glitter. And you want to put the glitter side down and slide it under the bottom of this panel that's on the belly band. And then you want to tie a bow down here towards the bottom. And like I said, it's kind of a stiff ribbon, but you can still tie bows with it. So I'm going to hold that there. And then make my loop. Then hold that center and tighten pull your tails down so you can tighten the ribbon down. Out. Then just trim your ends. Try to center your bow. I'm going to use a glue dot. Just going to pull it off the roll. I'm going to lift that up and put it under my ribbon so it won't twirl and fall off there. And then we'll add our sentiment. So the first one, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Try not to squeeze it very hard. I don't want it to all just start coming out fast. And I'm going to glue the first words that say celebrating the, and I'm going to put it down here under the star. I'm going to kind of go off towards the gold. So it's not just going over to the edge of that DSP. I'm going to try to get it straight. And then you're going to do the next piece, the magic of the season. Go off there and just come down a little bit from it. Wish I knew where that star went. So now I've lost 2 of the stars for this card. All right, so that part is finished. The front is finished. When I find that star, I'll add it, but my sample will show the star here and that one. And on this piece, see, I cut them out of the my gold foil for this card. I cut them out of there. So that's a resource. Okay, let's see if this is dry. I'm going to hit the heat tool on it just to make certain. Because I don't want to smear it. And if you heat vellum too much, it will warp your vellum. All right, so take this belly band off because now we're working back on the inside. And this is another way that you can add your glue to the vellum and not see it. So we're going to take this shadow or silhouette of the manger scene. We're going to add glue to the back of it. And then we're going to place it just under that Oh Holy Night. So behind this, I know I can put glue and not be seen. So we're going to flip this over. Hope that it's dry. And we're going to add just small dots in the corners. And then behind the figures, just a small dot there in the center. Okay, bring in our cards, our DSP. Pardon me. And then center it. Pardon me. I'm not rubbing on that Oh Holy Night because I don't want it to smear if it's not dry. Excuse me. Pressing that down. Okay, so now to add that to the center, you're only going to put glue kind of parallel or right up and down on that center line instead of going on this color. You're going to do it on the bar though, and you're just going to put just a little bit there in the center. Do not go any farther than just the center, because if you do, it won't pop out. And then you're going to take and you're going to center that. You're going to hold it above it and try to center it the best you can before you set it down on that cardstock or that little band across there. So I'm holding it in place. Now that we have it all put together, you take and these two seams right here, you push and they'll fold out because it's already scored there, and you don't want to push it too far, but you want it to where it'll stand up like that. And so this is, and then like I said, a gold star will go there. I have no idea where they went. I didn't go anywhere. And so we'll put this back together. There's the card we just made. This one here is the sample that I already had. So there is our third card. So it's, it's even pretty without the extra, but I like it with it bumped up a little bit so that you can see it. All right, so that's card 3. And our last card, I just want to do some explanation on cutting your DSP. All right, so this is the card that we're going to make. And this is the sheet of DSP, and we're making a scenery. So, but this is so thick down here at the bottom, and I wanted some of the blue sky. And so, like I said, this is the card, and this is called a bridge card because of this little bridge across here. And then here's the back of it for our star and our other sentiment. And I did stamp my name on the back. And then so it just sits up like that. It'll fit in an envelope by folding it this way, and it slides in an envelope. If you go the other way, I doubt it will, because I hung my greeting over just a little bit so that I could optimize my space down here. And so you want to make certain which one edge you do not have anything hanging off, and see it's really close to almost hanging off too far on this end. So this is how we make this card. And I have the star for that one because it's been laying here. That's the one that was in that folder, embossing folder that I was showing you on how the hybrid works. So I'm gonna set this up here with my star. Here's my bits and pieces. Okay, so cutting this piece of cardstock or DSP so that you can get the scenery. What I did was down here at the bottom, I took 2 inches off across this bottom. Like that. But don't discard this because you're going to need this section. So I'm just going to set this off here to my side. And then I cut this piece to my length. And so here's my pieces here. And it is 4 inches tall. Okay, so I need to cut this next strip at 4 inches. So I cut 2 inches straight away off the bottom. And now we're going to cut this to 4 inches here at the bottom. So this piece I could have used for the last card, but I designed it first, so I didn't think about that because I didn't know how I was going to do this one. So you could use the top of this, cut for your 4th card first, and then do your 3rd card out of this top piece if you want. So then now I have this display across here. You can get 2 cards out of this span. So it's 4 inches by 12 inches because I took that 2 inches off the bottom. All right, so then what we want to do is the first cut you're going to make is 3/4 of an inch. So that, and you put them in the order that you cut them. So there's that one. Then the next cut is 1 3/4. It's not right. 1/2 inch. So I'm not going to get 2 out of my piece, but we'll do it this way. So it's a 1/2 inch. We'll put that first. I'm going to set this one off to the side. Then the next one is a 3/4 of an inch. And I can't just interchange them because you want them to go in order. All right. But it's all good. And then we want a 3.5 inch section. Okay. 3.5. And then we want to go back to a 3/4 inch. And then you want another 1/2 inch. Okay. So that's the order that you keep them in because that's the order that they need to go in. And I'll see if I can't salvage for another card out of that other one. Okay. So the pieces that I have in here, I'm going to use on a card later so that I can show you what I was meaning. Okay. So these pieces I'll sit off to the side for a future card. And all these other little pieces and bits put over here to the side and explain all those later. All right. So here is my card base. You know that this piece that I had, you sit off like said, sit off to the side. We need a piece out of it that is 5 1/4 long by only 3/4. So at this top, so this was the bottom and this is where I cut. So off this top, I'm gonna do 3/4 inch. And then I'm gonna cut it to 5 1/4. 5 1/4. And then this one can go with that last section of that long piece of DSP that we had. All right. So I've got them in order how I cut them. And then this is the bottom piece that I cut off. And then I have a very vanilla piece. This is our back piece. And it is 3 1/2 by 4. And then this is our card base. And it is 7 1/4 inches long by 4 1/4 tall. And so you can cut this with it being in the portrait mode. So it's like this, and then just cut 7 1/4 off the 11-inch side of it, or you can do it whichever way you want. But the way that I did it was in portrait mode. And then with this, you have, this is going to be a mountain fold, and then a valley, and a mountain. So it's kind of looking like that, but you want to line it up well and burnish. Go the other way and burnish. And then on this end, you want to make certain they're lined up when you're burnishing. You don't want it to be crooked, because that's how it'll stand, is it has to be flat. Okay. And then this is your bridge part of your card. So we'll start adding our panels. So now that you've got them where you can see the score lines better, we'll start adding our panels. So I'm gonna go from left to right. This card's not hard either. Just add a little bit of glue. Put your first piece on and make certain that they're upright the way they're supposed to be. So you want the sky, the blue at the top, and the sand at the bottom. Then you do the next one. And it creates the visual effect that it's just non-stopping scenery. See how that kind of all flows together? Then the next one's the larger panel. For as easy as this card is, it gives kind of a wow factor, and I like that. Then my next panel, which is the 3/4 inch. And then this last panel, Good thing that I did a lot of the stuff ahead of time, the stamping and die cutting and everything. All right, so now let's do our bar, our bridge part. So these are the same length, just that the cardstock is a 1/4 inch larger. So we're going to add glue to the corners. Down the center. And then we're going to add it to that bridge section. So I centered it top and bottom, and then 2 ends or at the edges here. Okay, if it's not, turn it over and trim off anything that's hanging over. All right, so now let's put the card part together. All right, so down here at the bottom, we're gonna kind of measure with our bridge about how far up we need to go. And we're just gonna add some glue. So I can see this is the edge of my bridge, and I don't want to go any higher than that. So I'm just kind of staying down here at the bottom and add some more towards this edge. And then I'm going to take this edge and put it to this edge and at the bottom. So this edge and then the edge of this panel. See what I mean? This edge, this edge. You want to make certain that gets adhered well. Okay. And then you want to fold this all up and down and then unfold this. So open this all the way up. And you're going to lift it and you're going to put glue right here on this outside panel here. Just this one. Don't put any in here. And glue that down there and hold that. And then you can go the other direction with it. And that's what makes your bridge. Okay. All right, so now we're almost done. So for the back, I'm going to stamp the star and our greeting. And we're going to do the lemon lolly and the pebbled path. So the lemon lolly. We're going to stamp up high. Then we're going to take this greeting ink it up and then put it going through the star. Because you just want that hint of that star behind it. Okay. And then we're going to flip this over. Make certain this is dry. Add glue to your corners. Make certain it's right side up. And then add this to the back panel. And this is where you'll sign your card. Okay, and we're going to flip this over. And I'm going to add my sentiment. I want it to hang off my edge here just a little bit, but be flush with the bottom down here. And so I'm going to just add glue right here. And not all the way over, because I want to be able to slide the donkey under there a little bit. Okay. I'm going to add my sentiment. I said it's hanging off a little bit. And then I want my donkey. And I have cut these pieces out for y'all. I wasn't going to, and then I thought, well, I could cut the little ones, I guess. I'm going to slide him up underneath. So there's that so far. Now then, when I did the manger, I did it in a way, when I cut it out, I cut a section off just a little bit because it's just a 1/16 of an inch, I think, off. So when I cut it, used the die cut, I made certain that my die cut went off the page just a little bit. So it made this shorter and this a little bit shorter. But we're going to cut some of this off. So we only want to glue the top part and part of this. But I'm going to show you how to, this is really a stark copper clay, and I want it to be lighter. I mean, darker. I want it to look more, you know, like an old manger or stable. So I'm going to take a finger dauber, and this is not the one with the glue. This is a different one. And then I'm just going to swipe it on the wood grain, because when this cuts it, it also embosses it with a wood grain. And so just, you don't have to do a lot, just do some so that it's not so bright of a color of that copper clay. All right, so you want to make certain that it was enough that it will slide in there and be between your score lines. And this one is. So, and I mean, it just needed a small amount. And you don't want to go too much past this. You only want it to go to about there. So you can see how much I'm going to have to cut off. So I know not to put glue that far down. So I'm going to take this out. Bring in my silicone mat. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Just small amounts. You can use a tape runner or liquid glue. Right. And then now I'm going to slide that up underneath that bar, the bridge part of, or I guess I can go from the top and go down. And then put top of my stable at the top of my card, and then just start pressing it down. Okay. That way you're not getting glue on everything. Then turn it over. And with the edge of the base, just trim those off. And that'll be trash. All right, now we're going to put our, this was an extra sentiment in case I ruined one or something. All right, so we'll just put our silhouette in next. I'm going to show you a neat little addition to this card, and we're almost done. Okay, so you want them to just barely be in the sand. So you want it to be about probably a inch from the bottom, maybe. So I'm just going to do that and see right here is the star right above. So I'm just, sorry. So right here's the star right above them. So I'm just trying to get it as straight as I can and pressed in there. And then there's a little gold piece here, and this is just the manger. And I'm going to trim this off, that off, and then down here at the legs of the manger. And then I'm going to take my tweezers, hold this, and put just a little bit of glue on the back. Oops. And then I want to put that in place. How to do it where you can see what I'm doing. In place of that manger. So I'm going to put it over the top. And by not cutting the manger part away, that's in the black silhouette, so you see, I'm sitting it right in on top of that. It makes it stand out, so it's a little bit 3D there. So his manger is golden. And then we're going to start adding our pieces. So here's my camel. So he's just going to go here on this edge. So I don't want to put anything on his neck or the top of this leg. So I know that I can put it on his back, the hump of the camel, and on these legs here. On the bottoms of these legs. Okay. So I hold my finger where I don't want any glue to go. And then I make certain he's standing in the sand, not down below. And adhere him down. Then I'm going to take my dimensionals. And I can't tell if this is a calf, if it's a lamb, but whatever it is that's laying down facing. Then you're going to put a dimensional on the back of it. I'll put 2. And if you got the mini black dimensionals, that's good too, being this is black cardstock, but the white ones will be fine. Lap right there. And then we're putting a white lamb on the inside. And so I'm going to use dimensionals for him. Just putting 1, I think, on this one. It'll be on the inside of the card, so it won't get as much. And I'm putting it near the shepherd there. So there we go. That is our 4th card. And oh, nope, we've got the star. Got to put it on. And I'm going to put dimensional on the back of it, and I'm going to use a larger one for it. This up and put this at the top of the manger. And press. And there is our 4th card. We've got the little gold detail of the manger, the gold star. We have the white Lamb of God. And there we go. So clear this up. So hopefully you made it to the end with me. It's probably 9:45. This is probably the longest we've ever had bingo. I mean, our card class. Let me move this stuff. Oh, I found the star. And so, at least one of them. Okay, so this is our 4th card. I'm just going to do 1 of each. This was card number 1. Card number 2. And card number 3. There we go. This is our card class for the evening. And I think I'm going to offer an add-on or an additional card class because I have some other cards that I would like to share using these same things. So especially if you purchase the bundle, you might want to think about purchasing this additional class. It will be just the class of 4 more cards, and it'll probably be, I think, $25 maybe, and you get the kit and a PDF for those cards as well. So this would be 1 card class, and if you want to sign up, so I'll email that out. But if you want to sign up for that, you can. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'm going to offer an additional 4 cards using these same stamp sets and dies. So I want to thank you for joining me. And I know that it went a little long because of there's a lot to these, but there's really not. But I had already, most of the die cutting, most of the embossing done. I did have to do the stamping and embossing, and it took a little bit for the sentiment to dry in this one. And then we have our little touches of our ribbons, and I didn't want to go overboard with ribbon. We were going to do some the dimensionals, or not dimensionals, the embellishments that were the stars, and I was waiting for them to come back in stock, and they did not. And then they said they weren't going to offer them any longer, so I was waiting for several weeks to get them. So I just decided we wouldn't use things like that. We would just use the die cut pieces if we could. So I hope that you enjoy this and you have fun making them, and who you give the cards to, that they will enjoy them. And I would say, you can, this one would probably take extra postage to mail because of this ribbon here. I don't know if this one would. It might. This one should not take any extra postage. It just depends on when they feel something, if they think it would. But so these might be cards that you would hand deliver or give to, a friend or a family member that you would see in person. So anyway, well, thank you for joining me, and I really enjoyed making these cards, and I hope you enjoy making them as much as I did, and I hope that you love them like I do. And I think this is my favorite card, and this is my second one. So